It's Friday and you're here with us on The Form. We've got a dual harness meeting today in the form of Addington and also racing returning at Alexandra Park. Don't forget about the Gore Gallops and Group 1 action coming in from the Valley in the first of their night racing series. Let's have a little look at what's on the agenda for this morning. Aidan Rodley gives us a Gore preview. We then get Matt Cross and Craig Thompson to talk through those two harness meetings, that's Addington and Alexandra Park. Michael McNabb has a big Saturday ahead of him, including a key ride in Khufu. And then to wrap things up, Nassim Dilmi from across the Tasman, Godolphin's right-hand man. Well, first up here on The Forum is Aidan Rodley. And Aidan, we've got Gore Gallops to look forward to this afternoon. Tell us what you're liking on the card.
Yep, it's good to have racing back down in Southland, isn't it? So because of that, we've got a real presence from Kelvin Tyler and Amy Tyler, of course, and also outside that, you know, the Andersons, the teams there strong from them as well. There's a little bit of Canterbury sort of participation in the meeting as well. But yeah, right through the day, we've got some decent betting races, pretty even races right through. I'm going to take you right down the end of the day, and that's to race 8. A horse who was just so impressive in clearing maidens last time out. Talk of Sea Shepherd, a horse who's still in contention for the 2000 Guineas. And speaking with Sabin Kirkland, he's going to this race, then on to the Barneswood Farm, then into the 2000 Guineas at the fourth start of his career. He was the subject of a decent size offer from Melbourne, but just an X-ray sort of showed up a minor fetlock issue, which basically prevented the sale, but won't prevent any issue on his further career. And it's not to say he's not going to be sold further down the track as well, but that Ashburton win, he's run the quickest last 800, 600, 200 of the race, and he's come from well back in a race that was dominated by those on speed. So of the first 6 home, he was the only horse that didn't settle in the first 6. And for a 3-year-old to be doing that so impressively early in the season, it just bodes well for him. He's up against the older horses, up in grade this time around, Emily, but I think he's going to take a lot of beating, and he's probably the biggest interest point around this meeting anyhow. And just one other one, just to note in the previous race, is Lightning Jack. He's a high-quality performer. Really good to see him back. He's got to carry 62 in this open 1800-metre race, but his resuming run for third at Ashburton was excellent as well. That was in behind this Tycoon Rose. It was a competitive race. He's run home in the second quickest last 600 of the race, and he's not normally a horse who shows up first up. His second up record's outstanding. 3 starts in that state for 2 wins and a minor placing, and we know he's competitive in Stakes Company early in his career. So there's a couple later in the program for you to look forward to, Emily, but not bad racing throughout the day, and it's good to see a Southland meeting up and running again.
Yeah, it sure is. I just wanted to cast our minds back to Riccarton on Saturday, where we saw Arc de Triomphe, and really interested in this horse heading towards that 1,000 guineas.
Yeah, she's putting together a really nice record now. She's won 3 of 5, goes around the Go Racing colours, and didn't they have like a 45 minutes just to be so memorable? Hasbro winning, then Tissue in Sydney, and then back to Arc de Triomphe winning as well. I'm not entirely sold on her just yet, but she has been really impressive in both her runs as a 3-year-old. And obviously, she's just getting these wins on the board. Now she's starting to make it a routine. It's starting to get habitual for her to become a winner. So she's going to have to step up again and again. And obviously, we've got some pretty handy ones coming down from the north. The good thing is she's qualified for the 1,000 Guineas now. They can take whatever path they want to getting there. There's no rush on Andrew Carston and his team now. But yeah, it was another really good win by one who just keeps on improving, and that's the measure we just don't know, Emily, isn't it? Just about how much extra is there with an eye to getting it to a 1,000 Guineas. And she shortened up. I think she became joint favourite after that win on the weekend. But how she measures up against the best of her age and sex, we'll find out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, exciting stuff. Thanks for your time, Aidan. Great to get you on and enjoy that Gore meeting this afternoon.
Yeah, best of luck to punters. I'll be obviously on trackside, so looking forward to people tuning in. And hopefully, between myself and Justin Evans, we might be able to find it.
We're back here on the form to talk all things harness. Craig Thompson, Matt Cross, a very warm welcome with us here on the form this morning. We've got lots to get through today because we have those two meetings, don't we? Addington and also, of course, racing returning to Alexandra Park. We'll start with you, Craig, and we'll start with Addington. Give us your best on the card.
Yeah, thanks, Ian. Good morning to you as well, and to Matt. In quite like one in race number 7, just falls into the right race. It's a horse called Lance with Louis, and it was good last start. It drew an outside second row draw. It made a mid-race move to get round, sit parked out. He ended up running third, but actually ran the best splits of the race, ran its last mile, 1:55. I just thought it fell into the right race, and more importantly, it's off the front on Friday night. No fixed odds as we record this in, but I do think he's probably the horse to beat. A couple of nice horses in the race. Life of Art's quite a good stayer. 2,600 would suit it. And Mr. McLaren comes north from Kirk Larson's barn down deep south. He's actually a half to Raka Pukarula. People will remember him as being a very, very nice 3-year-old of his year. But I like Lance with Louis, race 7, number 7, depending on what price you can get. My value bet goes around in the Mares race, which is our feature race there. And obviously features the Group 1 place Stylish Memphis. She'll be very short. But I didn't mind one here, Em, a horse called Darling Me. It's an ex-Northerner, trained by Stephen Amanda Telfer. Since their horses have gone south, they're racing with real distinction at the moment. They had a win last week with Kerry Maguire. She's out, of course, the Darling mare and Adore Me, the multiple Group 1 winner. And I love the way that she trialled the other day. She's got Barrier 4, Tim Williams aboard. I just thought she may represent in a race where there's a dominant favourite in there in Stylish Memphis. I like Darling Me for a bit of value. Matt, what's your thoughts on what I think is going to be a really great card heading toward what is a premier night the following week, all races 20 grand and above?
Yeah, look, this is the most interesting time of the year. I think once the form just starts to get a little bit more deep, we've got horses that have had a couple of runs under their belt now. I'm going to head to race number 1, Craig, for one of the better bets on the program. I'm just not sure which ones I'm going to single out at this point of proceedings, but I like Deny Everything in the first on the program, runner number 6. I'm sure there'll be a little bit of support for Glenthorne, who comes off a better barrier draws inside of Deny Everything, but he was brilliant first up at Ashburton. Deny Everything ran a 1:57 mile rate home in 55.7, beat home Socrates, who came out and won very convincingly at a Wambaroo 7 days later. With the run under his belt, the penalty-free victory last time out means he stays in the same rating band. Really winnable race for him. The first, I'd be backing number 6, Deny Everything, to take out race number 1. The other one I did like was Stylish Memphis in the Mares race. I really think they have to go forward with her, Craig, from barrier number 9. She's the best horse in the race, and look, they've made the statement that they're looking to get some decent runs under their belt. This is their opportunity. Push forward from barrier number 9, find herself into a good position, drive her like the best horse in the race, and I think she'll go close to winning Stylish Memphis. She's clearly the highest rated horse that we'll see all night. And race number 9 from the Stephen Amanda Telfer barn, I'm really excited about what they're going to do down here in the South, Craig. They're a great addition to the training ranks and the racing ranks. Tim Williams has driven them all positively thus far. I think they've half tried to make a statement with the fact that they are new to the training down here in Canterbury. Super Base heads around in race number 9, number 8. Got himself a little wayward at the 900-metre turn here last time and behind Sugar Meat. I reckon if he had have found the part spot, he would have given him a decent old fright, and his run prior was very good as well. So race 9, number 8, Super Base, certainly worth backing. And as I say, you should be following the Stephen Amanda Telfer team. I saw a few of them at the trials midweek as well, and they're really firing up.
Just on that, Matt, I actually talked to Steve last night too, so I'll give it all an update tomorrow night in studio, Friday night under the lights, trackside 1 on his team, where they're going, the resumption of BD Joe, and also numbers-wise, what he's got in the Deep South and what he's looking to plan for in the next 9 months. So watch that tomorrow night, trackside 1 after 6 o'clock.
Great stuff from both of you. As we mentioned at the start, obviously we've got Alexandra Park to consider as well. Craig, we'll come back to you. It's tricky, isn't it? The effect of our lockdown, and what's that going to do for Auckland-based horses?
Well, it is. Unfortunately, Emily, we lost the race this week that featured Dance Time. It obviously copied that. We were looking forward to the resumption of him heading towards the Cup in about 6 weeks' time. He'll go to trial on Saturday, along with Dance Time and a few others like BD Joe at Franklin. It's difficult for the punters more so, Emily, because these horses 6 weeks between races and no trials. We can't get to see them. We can't get the idea of where they are fitness-wise. Have to rely on, obviously, the talents of these trainers to get them as up and ready as they can be going into race day. But I'm just glad to have racing back at Alexandra Park. It's been a long time. Of course, they've got their feature meeting on the 8th of October, and that's where we'll see the resumption of these good horses on the way to the Cup. So great to have racing back in the north, but a little bit of a tricky affair betting-wise, Emily.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way, doesn't it? It will be remiss of us not to mention the biggest race of the weekend, of course, which is coming up on Sunday, the Group 3 Banks Peninsula Cup. Really looking forward to this one. And Matt, as we come to you, what did you like in that race?
Well, I think Majestic Lavros, after his win at Awamaru the other day, will be an improver. Often we'll see, and I think it's the same case in the thoroughbred code as well. You put a really good horse into maybe an intermediate grade race, and they don't always win as well as what you think they will, but then you put them back into their own grade of open class caper, and then they sort of lift another gear. I think he was only doing what he had to the other day, Majestic Lavros, when he was nearly beaten with that run under his belt and some more fitness. I thought it'd be really tough to roll. Remember the way that Sam Otley drove this horse in the Kokoda Trotters Cup last year. She led on him, ran the Mameri Chase. I think the 2,800 metres is right up his alley. If he finds the front Majestic Lavros, I don't think they'll die wondering with him. Vacation Hill is a very smart mare. If she gets a smother in the race, she'll be finding the line well. And then you've got the two Robert and Jenna Dunn runners. Chief of Staff, who's low flying at the moment, hasn't had as much racing in the last couple of weeks as a couple of others have. And the big watch horse is the Grass Track Specialist. He's won 5 of 7 on the grass. And I speak of Mataderos, and John Dunn jumps on him. Be keeping a pretty close eye on him. I think all things being equal, the best horse in the race is Majestic Lavros. If he leads and runs them along, he'll be hard to beat, but keep a close eye on the other three. Were you somewhere around those ones?
Yeah, I am. I think the clear top 3 in the race, Mataderos, Majestic Lavros and Vacation Hill. I'd be very surprised if the winner didn't come from those 3. And maybe it's very much reliant on, of those 3, who gets the best trip, Matt. What I would say about Mataderos, I think that he is an absolute grass tracker. He always has been. He's won 5 from 7. That's coming through the grades, and this is a big step up. But I love the way he stepped very quickly the other day. Tim Williams drove him at Addington. The horses that beat him home that day were Sunday Sun, Majestic Lavros, Midnight Dash, and Vacation Hill. It was a very good lineup that beat him home. And his splits in that race, Matt, he ran home in 56.2. The winner, Sunday Sun, ran home in 56.3. So he didn't lose anything coming wider on the track. And I just feel that, like I said to you last week, I don't think he's up to the Sunday Suns, but there's no Sunday Suns in this race. There's no Bolt for Brilliance. And I think the grass track really levels it up, especially when you look at a horse like Majestic Lavros. It's had 4 goes on the grass, and he hasn't run a placing yet. So the grass is a great leveler, Emily. Some horses love it. Some horses, they don't so much like it because it takes the speed out of their feet. So I settled on Mataderos over Majestic Lavros and Vacation Hill, but I think it's a wonderful addition. I mean, so many good horses have won this race. I Can Do's it won it in the past. I mean, last year it was One Apollo. It tends to take a very good horse to win this race, and we've got 3 really good ones in this year's edition.
Yeah, sounds like awesome stuff. We'll be tuning in on Sunday, of course, for the Banks Peninsula Cup. To both of you, great to have your company once again. Thank you very much for your time. Well, next up on the form, we link in with Michael McNabb, who's got a really good book of rides on Saturday, of course, races out of Matamata, Sunday Tauranga, and also an exciting horse by the name of Sakura Blossom. Michael, it's great to have you with us and have a chat through your rides. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
Let's have a talk through your runners on Saturday at Matamata. In that first of the day, a horse called Rapid Falls, and pretty impressive fresh up win. And it looks like you find very similar conditions again there on Saturday.
Yeah, really consistent, genuine mare. Come back with a really good win at Tarapa. She will really enjoy that. Looks like it's going to be a heavy track with all the rain we've had down here over the last 24 hours, and she's come on well from that, and she looks well placed in that race.
Race number 2, a horse called Pacific Dragon. We haven't cited this horse at the races, but has been good at the trials. Tell me the impression you got with that last trial win.
Yeah, really speedy little filly. Got a real determination to run. She's the 2 trials have been really good. Trial the other day, she was sharp out of the machines, done everything well. Has never been on a grass track, I don't think. So that'll be interesting. But if she goes as well as what she did on the synthetics, should be a really nice ride.
It's obviously tricky at a debut as to where you want to be in the run and how they're going to put it all together. What kind of feeling, though, does she give you as to perhaps where you'd like to settle?
Oh, I'd say going off what I know of her, should be in front or should be outside the leader, should be very close to the speed.
Race number 3, you've got Packing Joy. There's a couple of lads at the TAB who'll be pretty excited about this horse stepping out for the Stephen Marsh stable. It is your first ride on this one, but when it was fresh, that was obviously back in June, was a winner, so you're in a fresh state again, which might be a plus.
Yeah, he was a really good winner fresh. I thought even his run before we went for a break at Ellerslie on a slow 9 was really good. Just got sort of cluttered up back on the inside and didn't get a lot of room late, but I think if had got a lot of bit more room, would have been really competitive. Trialled up well, should get through the track all right. Looking forward to jumping on him for the first time.
Race 4, you've got Kufu. There's so much hype around this horse, and really keen to get your feedback from that maiden victory last time to the races. What was the impression that Kufu gave you? Will he live up to the hype, do you think?
All we can do is win, and he done that. But he takes a step up in grade here, sort of in quality of horse. He sort of went down the line to, you wouldn't say the best field, but he won, and he done everything right, which was the main thing. He's been a horse that has wanted to do everything early instead of the last 400. He's still been doing everything at the first 400 to 600 meters, and he done everything well. So as long as he keeps progressing like that, he's got a big hype, so it might take him a little while to get there, but hopefully he can take a step in that direction again on Saturday.
When we saw him in that maiden, he was slow away and then sort of rallied. Was that almost a blessing in disguise with what you're saying, the way he does like to go so hard early? Did that put you in a sort of more settled position? Yeah,
this whole prep has been everything about settling him, getting him to settle, getting him in behind horses. So that was always the plan, to sort of not make him step a little bit slow, but that I didn't want him flying out of the gates. And he stepped a little bit slow, and I give him a little bit of a push along, and he come back to me really nicely. So it was a really good sign. He done everything well. So let's just hope he does that again on Saturday.
With that education now under his belt of being able to sort of be a bit more adaptable in the run, would you use those same tactics again, or I guess less pressure? Maybe you could settle yourself a little bit handier.
Yeah, I think as long as he's got a couple in front of him, I think he needs cover to settle. If he gets out in the open, he might just want to charge off. So you don't want to be too far off, but I don't want to be too close as well. So I'll just be riding him neutral and getting him to do things right the first part of the race so he can be good at the second part.
Race number 5, you've got a horse by the name of Aurora Dolce, who actually broke the maiden last time at Matamata over the 1,200 metres when fresh. You're back at Matamata again, so that looks like a real plus. And you do know this horse because you rode it last campaign.
Yeah, I rode it last campaign, and she built to some really consistent form with placings, and then just sort of maybe tapered off that last run at Te Rapa. Then she come back the other day with a really good win, settled back and finished really well. So up in grade. Hopefully she can do the same again on her home track.
Race number 6, you've got Cornflower Blue. You meet quite a competitive field here, but you've got a nice mare here with plenty of talent. And we've seen in the past that she enjoys those off-track conditions. And I guess from that first run, it just was quite unlucky. So put that as a fitness exercise, and you'd be thinking she'd build on that first run, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd think so. I suppose you take... I think he's pretty special. As a Gold Watch, you take him out, and it looks a really, really good race for her. She drops down to the 54. She'll get through the off conditions, and she was Group 1 placed as a 3-year-old. So you think should be really competitive if the Big Chestnut horse doesn't happen to run.
Race number 7, River Run, another one for the Tony Pike stable, who've been such great supporters of yours, and a horse you know well. Looks like this horse rarely runs a bad race and is a pretty honest type.
Yeah, since his win at Tarapa, I think it was 3 starts ago, he's raced really consistently. I got held up on him 2 starts back, and then sort of tracked into the race really well, but had Victor Vegas on my back the whole way, so I've more or less done all the work, and he's just got over top of me late in open grade. So he meets a similar sort of field. He drops to 54. He's going just as well, so he looks well placed.
I'm going to put you on the spot now. Do you have a winning ride for us on Saturday at Matamata?
I'd like to see Kufu win again. I think with the ability that he's got, if he does everything right, I think he can be winning again.
We then move on to Sunday at Tauranga, and I know there was one ride that we wanted to single out for you to have a little chat about, and that was in the first of the day. Trial twice, and you rode it in that first trial. Tell us a little bit about this horse.
He's a Lonhro horse that come to us just this prep. He hasn't been there long, come to Tony Pikes, and he's really impressed and really improved as far as he's come to date. Trialled really well at Cambridge's first trial, and then was really sharp his second trial. Really looking forward to riding him.
It's been such a great time for you at the moment. You wrapped up last season in great form, and you started this season in fantastic form. A horse that we saw you on Hastings on Saturday was Secura Blossom, who was just mind-blowing with what she was able to do. Tell us a little bit about her and what was going through your mind there when you were so far back and sort of coming home quite strongly.
The first part, probably can't say what I thought, but the plan was to always ride her a little bit quiet anyway, just not that quiet. Just with her first run, she got over racing and wanted to do a lot wrong, and didn't finish off as well as what she probably could, but still won on pure class. And then, so it was, the main thing was to get her to settle, and then what she done after that was just unbelievable. I don't think I've ever ridden a horse, had a horse win like that for me.
When you compare her to other Group 1 horses that you've ridden, does she give you the feeling that she's right up there? Perhaps the sky's the limit as it stands right now?
I think the sky is the limit for her. She's really exciting. And even the other day when she was letting down, she still felt like she was floating, and she wasn't 100% like fully stretching out for me. So once she learns how to do all that, she could be anything. So it's really exciting to just be having sort of an association with a horse like her, and hopefully she can take us to places that we haven't been.
It's early in the season, and it's been such a great start for you. Do you have any goals or anything you're hoping to sort of tick off this year that you can keep this upward trajectory going?
I think just keep doing what I've been doing, because it's really focused last season. It worked really well for me, and I've just carried on doing the same thing, and it's kicked off. So I think if I can just keep doing the small things right, we could have another really big season. No real goals other than just to keep being consistent and trying to turn up and do my best for the owners and trainers at each race meeting.
Well, it's working for you so far. Michael, thanks for your time. Good luck on Saturday and Sunday, and fingers crossed we see you winning some big races on Secura Blossom soon.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on, Emily.
Well, this morning on The Form, we head across the ditch as always, and this time it's to catch up with Naseem Dilmi to talk through contenders across a massive weekend of racing. Naseem, welcome in, and thanks so much for taking time to have a chat with us.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for having me.
Let's start on Friday, because we've got a pretty big night of racing, including Group 1 action in the form of the Moir. And we'll just go in racebook order through your runners. Race number 3, Micro. Looking at this horse's record, really runs a bad race, a really honest type.
Yeah, he's always been pretty consistent. Obviously, we kind of threw him in a deep end early as a 2-year-old, and he's never really disappointed. He just needs to put it all together, and his result speaks for itself. He's won last time at Bendigo, just to give him a little bit of confidence and send him back into town on the weekend. But if you look at his record as a 2-year-old, he plays in group races, and he wasn't far off beaten of behind Lightsaber, who's just won last week. So we've always had a little bit of a soft spot for him, and he's slowly repaying his way.
In race number 4, Larkspur Run is another horse who is just a really talented type. He's just got that cracking record as well. And I really like the way this horse ran on from the back of the field in that first start in Victoria. Do you reckon you found another winnable race here?
I do hope so, yeah. Like you said, she did run really well last start. She wasn't far off beaten, and she's had... Craig Williams is riding her as well. So she ran really well at Moonee Valley. Obviously, she only got beat 2 lengths, and behind a horse of Friedman that they've had a big rap on. She's won the last 2 starts now, but hopefully she's coming to the race now in good order, and she's only second up, so she's had a little bit of a break, but she's now coming in the race in great order, and hopefully she can win on Friday night.
Race number 5, Destination, who's got the speed back to the 955 metres after a couple of weeks off. And it's a horse who looks like put itself right in the race. Take those tactics again?
Yeah, similar tactics, yeah. It was the guys at Osborne Park did really well to see him back win a couple of starts back at Randwick. Obviously, he's the type of horse that doesn't mind a firm track. He's had... He ran really well last start, only just got beaten on the line. So really happy to go back in distance over the 955, and hopefully he can win again.
And then, of course, we get to the big one, race number 7, which is the Group 1 Moy, where you've got trekking, and you come through that Concord. You must have been pretty happy with that effort. Very
happy, yeah. Obviously, he's not a 1,000-metre horse. He's won a Group 1 over 1,400. He's well campaigned, and first up going against horses like Nature Strip and all those handy sprinters, he still ran really well. He wasn't far beaten. He was only beaten 3 lengths or so. He hit the line really well. Kerrin came back and said the horse is back in great order, and he's obviously he does run at the Valley pretty well. He was narrowly beaten in 2 Group 1 last prep there, so hopefully he can run another big race. Although I'm a little bit worried. The rail's at only 4 meters, but the Valley, if you draw the inside, sometimes it cannot be a good thing. And he's not the type of horse that's ridden forward. So hopefully he's got Craig Williams on. Hopefully he can barge his way out and come on top of him.
Last year, obviously, he ran in the Moir as well, and that was in a fresh state. Was this time you sort of got that run under his belt? Is that intentional, or is that just the way that the program's mapped out this year?
Nah, yeah, I think that's the way the guys mapped him up. Last year, we kind of had a little bit of a program of taking him to Perth as well, so they gave him a few runs just to make sure he was fit, and he does run well fresh. The run in the Moir was excellent, and I think they're taking a similar approach this time into just spacing out his run a little bit.
Well, let's hope that Friday kicks off with a Group 1 win, because on Saturday the ball really gets rolling, doesn't it, with the Golden Rose Day out of Rose Hill. Again, we'll touch on these runners in racebook order at Rose Hill and start with race 5 in Palele. Also, I've been following pretty closely, and won the Rosebud before placing in the San Domenico. And geez, that form really stacks up now, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, in the Congo seems to be like a very up and coming, nice horse. His run in San Domenico was very good. Although the pace probably didn't go as we thought it would. Palele was just a little bit keen, and it did still finish strong, beating some very handy horses. Now he's going to the race in good order. We were thinking probably aiming towards the Golden Rose, but the way he raced last start, he probably showed us that he's more like a sprinter rather than start to stepping him up to those 1,400 races. So it's winnable race, but don't want to go there too confident. To me, it'll be my pick for the weekend. I think it'll be hard to beat, but he's a nice horse for the future.
Best of days in race number 6, and you come through again another pretty good form race in the form of the Fian. You weren't beaten that far that day, and you did have to make up a lot of ground. What's been the progress since then?
Yeah, it's really good. He keeps running well without winning. 2 starts back, he was only beaten a length and a half behind Sierra Sioux. So the form of his race is going really well. Like I say, he keeps running well without winning, but he's drawn a nice gate. He's a nice $10 odds. So I think he'll be an each way chance. Obviously, he's won another race last year, but he's always there and then, and he's running in big races all the time. So he's a nice horse, but sadly just doesn't win.
Hopefully it changes on Saturday. We then move on to Anamoe in race number 8, obviously in the Golden Rose, and I don't really know what to say about him apart from the fact that you must be absolutely wrapped with the order he's come back in for this 3-year-old campaign.
Yeah, for sure. Especially at the beginning of his campaign, just when he was about to trial, he's had a few minor issues with temperatures and just a couple of setback, and the team worked out a plan to make sure he was going to be ready bang on first up and aiming towards the Golden Rose. And so far from what we've seen at this stage, is couldn't be happier with. He's had one trial over the 740 meters, which is far from his ideal distance. And the way he's won the Run to the Rose, he had it tough, had to come wide, and fought on really well to win. James did say at this stage, compared to last year, he thinks he's ahead of Bivouac. So that goes to say that the trainer himself is confident. Not an easy race. Although he's favourite, the race is not handed to us very easy. But looking at how the other horse will be ridden, seems like In the Congo will be going forward and setting the pace. It'll be a nice strong pace, which probably would suit Anamoe, and the long straight of Rose Hill hopefully can finish on top and win another Group 1.
What's he like around the stables? What's his personality like?
He's very easy to ride. On the ground, he's a bit of a bully. He's not the type of guy you would take to the pub, because he'll pick a fight very easy. He can be a bit cheeky. Obviously, he knows he's a colt around the stables, but to ride is an absolute gem. He does everything that's asked, and he's very easy to deal with.
Race number 9, Allegron in the Gloaming Stakes, and this is obviously sort of a stepping stone towards maybe a race like the Spring Champion or even the Derby. What did you make of that 5th in the Dulcify?
I thought it was pretty good. Obviously, he was stuck on the fence, a little bit tight for room without being held up. The step up in distance from his first up run when he come back from Melbourne. Obviously, he went to Newcastle, not for an easy kill, but the guys just wanted him to win and get his confidence up a little bit and step up to 1,500 last start. He ran well. He wasn't far off beaten, and I think the step up now in distance is indicating that he's going to be a nice type of horse, like you said, a Spring Champion and possibly the Derby later on. So I think it's one for me to keep an eye on in the next few races, but it'll be a nice progressive stayer.
And then in race number 10, Promotions, right down the bottom of the page with just the 52 kilos. That's a little bit of a change from, I think it was 60 that the horse carried last time.
He did last start, yeah, so he's probably going to think he's going around without a rider on, but obviously he's rated 72, going around in the benchmark 78. I was very surprised to see the odds. It's $34. I think that's way over the odds. So any punters that's listening, just have a little bit of a 10 each way on him, because I don't think he'll be disappointing on Saturday. He'll run a full race.
And then let's head to Sandown, where you've got some more really talented types, including in race number 4. You've got the 2 runners there, Vianello and also Picarones. I hope I said that correctly. But Vianello, fresh after a brief freshen, and you're putting the winkers on. Tell me about that decision.
Yeah, winkers on. Just obviously make sure to keep her focus. She's had a few starts already this prep. She's coming really fit. Obviously, gone back to Melbourne. She's had a nice trial at Gosford at the end of August. the guys just spaced her run. She's had a jump out in Melbourne, and I think that's why the guys down there like to put the winkers on, just obviously to keep her a little bit sharp. And I think the step up to 1400 should really suit her.
Picarones, in comparison, she's got the run under her belt, and it was a pretty good run too. What did you take away from that one?
Really big run. Obviously, she was caught wide the whole way, and she ran home at a cracking, probably the fastest 600 of her race. And if the step up in distance, same as her, should really suit 1400. Hopefully, she doesn't have to get a similar ride as last start. I'm not backing the ride, but I'm just saying that obviously she was stuck wide the whole way and very unfortunate. But yeah, she's a nice. Both horses in the same race has a chance.
Race number 5, Ziegfeld. What did you make of that latest run at Flemington, coming back in distance for Saturday's assignment?
Yeah, well, he's a little bit frustrating, this horse, because he keeps running well without winning. We thought when he had a couple of starts back here at Kembla, we thought maybe he's showing us that he really wants to step up in distance. He'll be a 2,000 meter plus horse, and without thinking it was going to be an easy win, he actually didn't go as we thought he would. So James brought him back in distance, sent him back to Melbourne, and I think he's the type of horse now. He's getting old. He's looking for probably a little bit softer ground as well. So it'll be a nice chance. Obviously, he's running against 2 decent horses in there, Elephant, and the other one is Harbour Views. Obviously, the two to beat, but he'd been running a nice race. The guys in Melbourne have been happy with him.
And then in race number 9, Flexible, you had a fresh up win at the Sandown track and looks really well placed again.
Yes, obviously the guys, that was a huge effort winning first up over a mile. They kept her fresh enough for a second up assignment, stepping up over the 1800. But another type of filly that's very competitive, and she's just obviously stayer. She probably was very unlucky not to win the Oaks in Adelaide. But yes, heading towards those big staying races for the Spring Carnival.
I'm going to put you on the spot now and ask you to give us what you think is your best winning chance across those 3 meetings.
I would say for the odds of the horses, I do like Promotions. I think he's way over the odds and the guys, but I think our best chance, I would go either Paul Ele or Allegron. I'd say definitely I'd go Paul Ele, but keep an eye on Allegron for those big races in Melbourne.
Awesome stuff. Well, thanks so much for your time, Nazim. Great insight into those horses, and best of luck in that Golden Rose on Saturday.
Thank you very much.
It's been a jam-packed show here on The Form this morning, and I can't wait for Group 1 action to kick off this evening with the Valley. First race, 7:15 p.m. Now let's have a recap of our best bets. So much to sink our teeth into, and you can find it all right here on Trackside. Brendan Popplewell will be joining you tomorrow to continue our massive weekend of racing.